To greet you all this afternoon and welcome you to this media briefing by the South African Police Service together with the NPA. I must indicate that the National Director of Public Prosecution, Advocate Mothibi, is going to join us shortly as he is also part of this media briefing. However, the National Commissioner, General Masemola, will take us through the successes and the update of the safer festive season operations that were embarked upon by the South African Police Service together with other law enforcement agencies. We know that that operation commenced in October last year up until the end of January. It is then that afterwards, then the National Commissioner will zoom into the matters relating to the Madlanga Commission as per the directive of the President that we saw all of us last week through that media statement that was released through the Presidency. So without taking much time, National Commissioner, with your permission, allow me to call you onto the podium to take us through the official media statement for this particular media briefing as indicated earlier on the safer festive season and also the issues relating to the Commission. National Commissioner, over to you. Thank you very much.
Sure thing.
Thank you very much, General Pokani, the Deputy National Commissioner present, Lieutenant General Msikidi, Acting Deputy National Commissioner present, Lieutenant General Sintumule for Crime Detection, Acting National Head of DPCI, Lieutenant General Ngosi, all senior officers present, NPA officers also present here today, members of the media and the public at large. Today, as we are gathered here today to brief the people of South Africa on the outcomes of the nationwide festive season operations, we do so with deep pride in the men and women in blue of South African Police Service and members of other law enforcement agencies who stood firm on the front line of safety, working together with our other colleagues and stakeholders. Since the official launch of these operations in October last year, members of SAPS and other law enforcement agencies worked tirelessly day and night through the October month, November, December, and into the January. We deploying decisively to prevent crime, to investigate crime in all the 9 provinces. Their unwavering commitment ensured that all people who live in this country could travel, worship, and celebrate and conduct business with a great sense of safety and confidence during our busiest time of the year. Throughout this period, the law enforcement agencies went beyond the call of duty, often under challenging and demanding conditions, to disrupt criminal networks, remove illegal firearms and dangerous weapons from our communities, and of course also to bring from the road, off the road, those that drives under the influence of liquor. These operations were not only about enforcing the law, but also about restoring calm, strengthening community trust, and contributing to a stable environment in which the economic activity and investment can thrive. Safer communities and business confidence are inseparable, and the work delivered during the festive season demonstrates the law enforcement agency's role in safeguarding both. Importantly, these gains were achieved while the organization continued to operate under the intense public scrutiny, the SAPS, including ongoing commissions of inquiry, parliamentary processes, and ad hoc oversight mechanism within the broader security cluster. Let me be unequivocal. These processes had not distracted us from doing the work, doing what is the mandate of us in the country. Our focus remains clear and undiluted to serve and protect the inhabitants of this country. In this briefing, we will reflect on the impact of our festive season deployments, and we will also outline how we are responding, SAPS is responding decisively on the directives issued by His Excellency, President of the Republic of South Africa, Mr. Ramaphosa, including the implementation of the Madlanga Commission recommendations as we continue to strengthen accountability and professionalism and public trust. With regard to the Saver Festive season, you'll recall we launched it in October month, started running from there. We launched in October, and we worked right through up to the end of January. The police during that period and the law enforcement agencies conducted 7,726 high-density operations throughout the country, and it also includes the following: 116,434 premises were searched, 4,854 roadblocks were conducted, and 673,235 high visibility patrols were conducted. A total of 106,715 legal premises were inspected, with a total of 7,682 unlicensed legal premises that were shut down during this period. This is quite significant given the fact that unlicensed legal premises pose a challenge to our society, of course, including some that are licensed, where we experience incidents of shooting and other serious crime are recorded from those premises. With vigor, we will continue with our inspections to ensure that we shut down those operating illegally. As we have seen in the West Rand, one of the liquor outlets didn't really have the genuine license. It was a fake license that they were operating on. The number of suspects arrested seated a total of 236,887, with 32,308 suspects who were wanted by the detectives for various crimes ranging from business robbery, house robberies, carjackings, murder, rape, and illegal possession of firearms and other crimes. The breakdown of these arrests per crime category is as follows. For murder and attempted murder is 4,029 suspects who were arrested. For rape and attempted rape is 2,693 suspects who were arrested. Majority of those arrested during the festive period were in possession of drugs, bringing the total of those arrested for drug possession to 33,397. And a total of 4,281 drug dealers. Remember, there's difference between possession and dealing. Drug dealers were also arrested during this period. We also noted a high number of drunken drivers arrested, to a total of 15,075 by all other law enforcement agencies, including your metros, municipal police, provincial traffic, and the national traffic. And lastly, a total of 2,498 were arrested for selling alcohol without a valid license. In terms of seizures and recoveries and confiscations, more than 2,000 firearms were seized during this period, with the province of KwaZulu-Natal recovering most of the firearms, with 753, followed by Western Cape at 607 illegal firearms, and the Eastern Cape with 343, and Gauteng with 264. Coming to convictions that happened during this period, and you have to take note that convictions doesn't mean for people arrested during this period. Convictions can come from 3 years, 4, 5, 7, 10 years or more from the previously. But these convictions happened during the festive season period. And during this period, we had 2,738 accused persons who were convicted for time in prison. 199 of these were sentenced to life imprisonment. 15 accused persons were sentenced to 40 years and more imprisonment. 29 of these people were sentenced to 30 years imprisonment and more. 237 accused persons were sentenced to 20 years and more. 910 accused were sentenced to more than 10 years and more. 1,348 accused persons were sentenced between the period of 5 years to 9 years. Coming to the capacitation of detectives, we have also launched, as you are aware, an aggressive capacitation of the detective environment in a bid to strengthen our investigation frontline capacity and improve case resolution. We have since the beginning of the year contracted 264 detectives who left the service in good standing. And remember, last year we also welcomed back 200 or more detectives who are already working on these cases. We are confident that this ongoing strategy of bolstering our detective capacity will go a long way in ensuring those who harm others and commit heinous crimes are brought to book. On the Madlanga Commission, we take this opportunity to appraise you on the work that has already been done, emanating from the evidence that has been given at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and the other committee. On the 11th of November 2025, I established and appointed a task team of skilled senior officers who were mandated to do the following: monitor evidence led at the commissions and identify, of course, names of SAPS employees who were implicated to ensure that disciplinary investigations are initiated in cases where there is credible information that may lead to misconduct. This team would ultimately ensure that disciplinary processes are followed in line with the SAPS disciplinary regulations. To date, members whose names were mentioned at both committees have been identified. We cannot at this stage, of course, mention their names, but as the case are still under investigation, all the affected members have received the notices of investigation into the alleged misconduct. And hearings and investigations are at advanced stage, and of course there are those that are already on suspension. From the another four members that have already been served with notice of intended suspension, and we are still considering their representation. You should be aware that there were 5 names from the Madlanga Commission that were referred to us, and one is already suspended, and the others, the investigation is on, but their notice of suspension are under consideration at this stage. We have received also the IPID recommendation of the April 2022 murder of Emmanuel Mpenze. You'd remember the case of Ekurhuleni. This week we received the recommendation, and it's important to mention that SAPS had already initiated its own internal departmental investigation in this regard. Of course, the criminal investigation was conducted by the IPID on 2 police officers that are implicated, who were allegedly on the scene of crime when the deceased, Mr. Mpenze, was murdered and dumped into a dam. Following a directive from the presidency, President Ramaphosa, we have established a team that will investigate those implicated in the Madlanga Commission. It is important to note that some of these cases were already been investigated by the Political Killings Task Team, the Organized Crime and the Serious and Violent Crimes units and teams. However, now that there is this team that we have established, it will then take over these referrals and start the investigation. This team comprises of experienced, skilled, specialized detectives, forensic experts, crime intelligence analysts, and operatives, as well as combat members. The team will also include, of course, members from the NPA. I'm sure Advocate Mothibi will talk on that for purposes of prosecutorial guided investigation. This team's mandate include fast-tracking of the finalization of all cases that have been under investigation and referral from the Commission. And this task team include investigating criminal cases that relate to members of the 9 members of Ekurhuleni Metropolitan Police Department. We have full faith and confidence in the team that is made up of experienced and skilled specialists. Together with the NPA, led by the National Joints, we continue to assess and review the safety and security of those who have a role to play at the Commission. We have received a briefing from the Provincial Commissioners of Gauteng with regard to investigation relating to Witness D, and I'm confident that the team is in the right direction, and of course that case is part of what is being investigated by this newly established team. I'll now hand over to Advocate Mothibi, maybe to comment in this regard. I thank you.
Thank you, National Commissioner, senior colleagues from the South African Police Service, all the colleagues that are in the room from SAPS and from the National Prosecuting Authority, and members of the media. I'm standing here to really assure the public that the directive that the President has given for the task team to be established to investigate the matters that the National Commissioner referred to will be supported by the National Prosecuting Authority. NPA appreciates the importance of fast-tracking investigations and prosecutions. Following the interim report submitted by the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry to the President, as we indicated, we really welcome the decision of the President to recommend the establishment of this task team in response to the recommendations of the Commission. As the National Commissioner indicated, the task team will comprise of investigators and also state advocates who are state prosecutors. The state advocates and state prosecutors, of course, are allocated to this task team to facilitate what is called prosecutor-guided investigations. As you may be aware, that prosecutor-guided investigations provides real-time guidance to investigators as they gather evidence and real-time assessment of the evidence that's gathered to ultimately enable speedy prosecutorial decision. We are awake to the urgency of these investigations, and we therefore will allocate this state advocates, state prosecutors permanently to this task team. This model is designed to ensure swift and effective investigations that sees prosecutors and investigators working closely and managing investigations, which should culminate into prosecution. I'd like to indicate that a related aspect, amongst other aspects, would be the involvement of the asset forfeiture unit. So members of the asset forfeiture unit will also be allocated to the task team. There is that high possibility that as the investigation unfolds, there will be a need for intervention by the asset forfeiture unit. This approach is critical in upholding the rule of law, swift justice, and ensuring that those responsible for the identified criminality are held accountable, thereby enforcing the principle that no one is above the law. By acting promptly on the Commission's interim findings, the law enforcement agencies demonstrate their commitment to transparency, accountability, and helping to rebuild trust in our institutions and the entire criminal justice system, and of course enhancing the rule of law. This will be structured collaborative work undertaken by all partners within the law enforcement agencies with a view to ensure prosecutors present and present formidable cases before our courts. So, National Commissioner, I'd like to assure you, as you lead this team, that we will bring in our support to ensure effective investigations that will lead to prosecutorial decision. As I close, when I was called, I didn't hesitate that I needed to be part of this media briefing, because we needed to give the public the assurance that we are acting on the injunction that the President has given. And I've just been in my office, National Commissioner. This is my 5th working day. I know that we've been receiving, and Mr. Maga there has been informing me on various occasions that there are calls for me to engage with the media. I'd like to assure you that we are not avoiding the media. We will at an appropriate time, and we understand the need to engage. So once I've familiarized myself with the business of NPA, which will of course be speedily, we will indicate when we are ready, where we'll outline the vision, the mission, and the priorities that we will need to engage on. But I can just indicate that in line with the criminal justice expectations, one of the focus areas that we will need to contribute on is to ensure that we support government and the criminal justice system in the fight against organized crime. I'll end it here. Thank you very much, National Commissioner.
Thank you very much to Advocate Mothibi for taking us through that official statement from the NPA, and also to thank the National Commissioner General Masemola for also taking us through that official statement from the South African Police Service. At this point in time, members of the media, we are going to be allowing space for questions, if there are any, to the panel that is addressing this media briefing this afternoon. By the show of hands, you will then indicate and introduce yourself and the media house that you are representing, and then pose your question accordingly to our principals that are sitting in front of us this afternoon. Are there any questions? Okay, I'm noting. I will just say 1, 2, 3. I think there are 3 hands so far. I'm not missing any hand in that particular order. So you can just open the microphone and pose the question. We'll also go to the online questions as well, and after this round. Thank you very much. Over to you.
Good afternoon. To the National Commission, you said that during the
If you can just introduce yourself as well, just so that
sorry, my name is Sines Toshraji from Business Day. To the National Commissioner, he indicated that of the 5 police officers that were sort of indicated in the interim report that there should be criminal investigations against stemming from the Madlanga Commission. The Commissioner said only 1 has been suspended out of the 5. Can the National Commissioner sort of give an explanation as to why the other 4 have not been suspended? Is this based on the prima facie evidence against them? And secondly, when it comes to the special task team, is there a particular time frame that has been set for the criminal investigations for the team to work for? A third question would go to General Sentumule. During this week at the Madlanga Commission, we had evidence on the capacity of the forensic unit, where it was highlighted that only 2 officers are on standby to answer to ballistic for ballistic expertise in 5 provinces. You had indicated at the Madlanga Commission that the SAPS management would be writing a report. Has that report been written and filed at the Madlanga Commission? Thank you.
Okay. General, may we proceed to the other 2, then respond all at once. Is that okay? Thank you. Then proceed. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Skarama Fukwali, Newsroom Africa. My question goes to General Masemola. Just on the other one is on Madlanga, and the other one is on the Festive operations. Firstly, on Madlanga, have you been, or rather the SAPS, been in touch with the Commission about the prima facie evidence that the Commission would have relied on, in at least as far as to the names that were supplied to the President in terms of recommendations? That's question number 1. The second one, the festive season is notorious for crimes like CITs, heists. Over the past week, this week actually, we've seen at least 3 cases, 2 in Gauteng and 1 in Durban. How concerned? How is SAPS responding to that? Thank you very much.
Okay, the third one.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Kawelo Mawoleo from UFM and Newsnote. Apologies, you can't see me, the principals. Just an update on the DJ Waras matter, SS data. An impression was created in the initial stages of the investigation that you were looking for a suspect with dreadlocks, which has now triggered speculation that everyone that is in that has been presented in court does not have dreadlocks. Are you still searching for this particular individual, or has somebody went and had a dramatic overnight image change? And regarding Madlanga, I get a sense that everything is dependent on the directive by the President, which was communicated through a recent press statement. I would argue that the public expects police and the NPA to act independently. And in my humble view, the President is himself a subjective player in this ongoing thing. He has ministers being implicated that he has to decide whether to suspend or not, and he has not acted on them, and there's unhappiness over that. So how are you not worried that you are creating perceptions that you are now also playing politics if you are saying that we are acting on the basis of a directive by the president? Like so many weeks since this inquiry started, is it not reasonable to expect that somebody should have appeared in court, whether it's the Ekurhuleni murder or any other, because there's been quite chilling revelations there? Are you not, don't you regret as law enforcement agencies that you were not, so far you have not been able to deliver anyone in court in relation to some of the things that are coming at ad hoc and Madlanga Commission? And lastly, these two individuals, Brown Mukhodzi, and what is the latest regarding his attempted assassination? Brown Mukhodzi, any suspect being identified? Did he eventually cooperate by providing a statement to the police? And Paul O'Sullivan, is there any investigation against Paul O'Sullivan by SAPS? If not, what is the relationship with, what is his role in the SAPS? Because he's implicated too many times. He implicates people just as much himself. And finally, to the NPA, there's been a case opened by MKP over several months ago against AfriForum for their what people believe to be misrepresentation of the country. Is there any update on that investigation? Because last time I inquired with the Hawks, they said it was still at an early stage, although I thought it could not be an early stage because it was 2 months, or because a perception has been created that perhaps the authorities don't know the nature of the crime, you don't know where to start. Is there an update on that? This relates to the activities in the US where they are alleging that there's a white genocide in the country when there's none. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, General, and also Advocate Mothibi. We've got those 3 questions from UFM, News from Africa, and the Business Day in that particular order. General, I will then request the National Commissioner just to take us through the responses, followed by Advocate Mothibi. Thank you, General Masemola. Over to you.
Thanks very much. Yeah, with regard to, firstly, where you talk about there's been 5 members, only 1 is suspended. Yeah, what happened is that I did indicate in my statement that there are those that has been served with notice of intention to suspend, and well, after consideration of their representation, I wouldn't know what decision is going to be taken, but there has been. But I must also indicate that you should recall that where does this come from? After the July 2025, July 6 public statement by General Mkhwanazi, you should recall that there was already investigations. Some of these cases are being investigated. We have seen some people already in court. You should be aware that like Wakati Somolefe is in court, Ket Matlala is in court. So there is people that are already in court. And from SAPS side, a disciplinary team was appointed late last year, and they've started with the investigation, not only on the 5, but those that we find that there is substance in the investigation. We did not rely solely on what come from the commission, Madlanga Commission, but however we relied on a lot of other evidences. Hence, we are investigating a little bit more than only the 5. The time frame for the task team, well, what we gave them is that they should be finalizing this work in less than 3 months. But of course, we know that it's quite a magnitude of work. But some of the work, as I said, were being investigated in other field, in other task teams or other units. So what one does now, we appointed a team, is more a consolidation, and we are quite convinced that they should be finished with their work within 3 months. So of course we'll take it from there. I think Mr. Mafokwane from Newsroom, I did answer on this, that we are not necessarily relying on the evidence that we get from the Madlanga Commission. Our investigation is quite broad, and it involves more than those that has been referred. With regard to the CIT, over the period of the festive season, the crimes of cash in transit did reduce drastically. Yes, I'm concerned. I've seen an increase of recent last week and this week, and I did direct the operational people to refocus and make sure that we clamp down on this, those that are trying to take us back where we come from. And I'm sure we'll be able to beat them. I'm sure we have seen in one of the CITs there was a shootout and arrest of some people, and we will continue doing that to make sure that we bring this crime quite down. With regard to the DJ Warras, you say we're looking for somebody with dreadlocks. As you are aware, dreadlocks don't sit on somebody permanently. But at this stage, we are confident we have got the right suspects currently. The first suspect that we arrested, and the second one that have also appeared. We are quite confident they are the right people, and we are still looking for. There might be one more that we are looking for, but yes, I must thank the team that did with this case, because the breakthrough in this case was quite in a very short space of time, and they have got the right people. So one is thankful for the members for the good work they've done. Relying on the commission, I think they have answered that question. The case of Brown Mokgotsi is still under investigation. So at this stage, there's no any other progress, but the case is still under investigation. We'll update you as we go along. With regard to Paulo Sullivan, I am not aware of any case. I don't know if my colleagues they are aware of, but General Sintumule, she answer on the other case. I'm sure she will dwell more on that. Thank you very much. You can go first.
Thank you very much, members of the media. In responding to the question as posed, I am not going to limit my response on what the witness said at the commission, but rather I want to affirm that the report, as requested by the commission when I was there, was compiled and submitted, and that covered the capacity of Forensic Science Laboratory and also the measures that has been taken by the organization to capacitate the environment of forensic, both in terms of human capacity and also infrastructure. I must also say that in this regard, we were given for this financial year 675 posts that were aimed at capacity building within forensic. In terms of crime scene management, they received 600 of those posts, and that is actually aimed at increasing our capacity to be able to respond to crime, and that also will include our ballistic experts. And also we have partnered with the CSIR to expand our laboratories, and with that comes capacity, and as I said, that also covers our ballistic analysis. So we do have people who can respond as and when they're expected, in terms of our crime scene. And I think I can give an example with the victim of yesterday, who also was implicated in the Madlanga Commission, that the team was there. I think you saw them, and therefore we do have capacity to respond. I thank you.
Right, there's a question posed to NPA around the case opened by MK Party against AfriForum. And I think, Mr. Makgolejo, you went further and said you inquired from the Hawks, and they said it's still too early, still an early stage. So it might be that MKP opened a case and is being investigated by the Hawks, and the Hawks, therefore, they said it's still early when you inquired from them. However, I will still have the opportunity. There are matters that are at NPA, in particular, the Investigative Directorate Against Corruption, and there are other matters that NPA may be seized with. So to that extent, we will possibly take your details and just specifically respond on this, whether NPA is seized with this matter or not. But it does sound from how you post the question that DPCI also comes into the picture. But we will clarify that to you. General, if you allow me, I also want to just respond and give my comment on the question still by Mr. Makgolejo around in executing what I refer to as a directive. But I mean, you would have read this media statement issued by the President. In the main is the implementation of the recommendation coming out of the Madlanga Commission. That's the main thrust, okay? So as you are aware, that Madlanga Commission submitted an interim report to the President. So out of that report, the President is really indicating that these were the recommendations and there is a task team that's required to look at it. That in no way will usurp the work of the SAPS, neither will it usurp the work of the NPA. So what we can assure you is that we will continue doing our work, even as we investigate the outcomes of Madlanga. We'll do it without fear, favor, or prejudice, as it is expected of all of us to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much once again to the National Commissioner, Advocate Mothibi and General Sentumule, for those responses. I believe they were able to cover every other question that was posed in the earlier round. General, through you, if you can just take the second round of questions. I see a new hand, and then there will be an indication if we have an online Brigadier Mate, then you'll take us through any questions that are coming through the online platform. Let me just allow the hand that is right here in front. You'll introduce yourself and pose your question, then we go straight to the online platform. Thank you very much. Over to you, sis.
Thank you. Anastasia Mkobu for Jacaranda. Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Anastasia Mkobu for Jacaranda Film News. My question is for General Masemola. Considering the fact that the Madlanga Commission is still ongoing and we've seen a lot of senior officials in the law enforcement being implicated, can you just take us through what went through the work to put together this task team? As the statement indicates that it's people that are skilled in various expertise. How did you ensure that we don't have the same people that are implicated in the commission ending up on the task team that is actually investigating those allegations? And for Mothibi, you are taking an office after years where we've seen several high-profile cases not being prosecuted, some of them still stemming from the state capture allegations, and now we have a new commission which is going to require that work from your side. If you can just take us through perhaps some of your priorities when you take the office. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us, through General, if you can go straight to the online and then respond afterwards so that we, at least we know that we have concluded the media briefing. Brigadier Martin, please take us through the online questions.
In terms of our...
Please can you open your mic? Is it on?
Hello?
Yeah, thank you. Now you're audible.
Thank you, General. In terms of our online questions, we have a few from Yusuf Abramji. The first question, when can we expect the first arrest from the Madlanga Commission investigations? Second question, why has it taken IPED 4 years to finalize the probe into the 2022 Brakpan murder case? Third question from the same, from Yusuf, how far is the disciplinary process relating to suspended DNC Lieutenant General Shadrach Sibia? Is there a delay, and if so, what's the reason? The last one from Yusuf, General Masemola, what's your response to what we are hearing at the Madlanga Commission, particularly where a senior official received money from a police supplier, medication and gifts? That's happened under your watch. And from Brayton Cupido from Network 24, our questions are as follows. Advocate Mothibi has mentioned that a dedicated team will work on investigations into police corruption. Is existing capacity being used, and will other investigations now suffer as a result of this move? We have seen multiple attempts at intimidation and attacks on witnesses at the Madlanga Commission and the ad hoc committee in Parliament. Is it still safe for witnesses to testify before these bodies? That's to Advocate Mothibi. And then to General Masemola, how are you determining at this stage internally which officers to trust given the allegations at the Commission and at the ad hoc committee? And then the last one from online, it's from Spiwe Masilela, and he's a freelance reporter. General Masemola, is an update regarding the mysterious death of the 3 police SAPS police officers whose vehicle capsized into the Hanops River. Thank you, General.
Thank you very much, Brigadier Mate. On some of the questions, you were very soft, so some of them were not necessarily audible. So we were able to get the one from, I think, Yusuf Abramji, but I think the second aspect of the network, the ones that are directed to the National Commission, if you could just run through those ones quickly, then General will then call the National Commission to the question. The last one. Are you able to just zoom in there before going to, I think, Masilela?
Okay. To General Masemola, how are you determining at this stage internally which officers to trust, given the allegations at the Commission and ad hoc committee?
And then Masilela was just on the 3 constables from the Festive General. So I think that was the last one. Okay, then the National Commissioner will then take the podium for responses, followed by Advocate Mothibi in that order. Thank you very much, General. Over to you.
Thanks, General Pukani. Yeah, the task team, how we went through, we selected the members and we made sure that they are screened, and it's not going to be a once-off. Those members that are within the task team or whoever that we might bring on top to join the task team, they will be screened, those members. It's a process that we even discussed with the Acting Minister of Police, Mr. Kachalia, that we need to thoroughly screen those that are going to be on this task team. We just didn't just pick and put into the task team. Well, the first arrest for now, one cannot say. Let's wait. Let the task team start their work. They are starting next week. Let them start. We'll take it from there and see what happens. The Brakpan murder, I spoke about that we receive a referral from the IPID, where we then initiated action. As I said, we received early this week or last week, we initiated action. But it is not SAPS that is investigating the Brakpan matter. So that question can better be answered by the IPID because that case is with them. With regard to progress on General Sibiya's matter, the disciplinary process is in progress, and I cannot predict when it will be finalized, but it is in progress. What we hear at Madlanga Commission, where there are our members implicated, yes, some officers or senior officers are implicated. We do access such evidence and we do internal investigation. So that's how we are treating that. How to determine who to trust, who not? Well, it's a difficult question that. We have seen, we are subjecting all senior managers now for vetting and with the external role players like your SSA, so that will assist us as we move forward. But that is the status. The last question with the 3 constables, we last week did give an interim report to the families, and there were some areas that we felt, the families felt they still need some answers, which the team is working on that. And I did indicate to the families that within a month I will go back and give them a progress report in terms of the areas that were raised and that we feel there still needs more investigation in that regard. So that is the progress with regard to the 3 constables. I think just all of it. The first arrest one I did answer. I said I wouldn't predict, I wouldn't know. Let the team piece together whatever evidence that is there and what has been under investigation by various other components, and we'll take it from there. Thanks very much. But also, just to indicate, on the question of General Sintumule, she did answer it on the question of ballistic, that yes, quite often we encounter a problem with the division or the component forensics. You would recall last year I gave the detective services 4,500 police members to recruit. The first initial recruitment of the 2024 was, we gave them half of that, and the last part were those that have passed out or finished their training in 2025 December. So they are recruiting not only for general detectives, but they are recruiting for all the detectives, including your forensics. So up to so far, when I check how far they went, they have recruited 1,900 as of December, that is December, the past December of 2025. They still have got quite a bigger number, 2,000 plus, or 2,006 to go. And that involves recruitment for the wider detectives, including your forensics, all the sections, chemistry, ballistic, and all others. So I went further this January. I had a meeting with the acting Deputy National Commissioner here that their recruitment is a bit slowish, so they must, of course, put in speed. But of course, we need to take into consideration that the constables, as they come out of college, they've got 6 months that they must do practicals on the job training at a police station. So in as much as they've recruited, but they can't disrupt that training and take them over. They just need them to finish those training, even if they are qualified in forensics and in chemistry or science, but they must still finalize that specific on-the-job training in order for them to have that qualification. Then they can move over to the Division Forensic Services. But I have recently now, last week, given her a due date of up to the 28th of February 2026. When she talks, you'll hear she says 2027. It's not 2027. It's 28 February 2026. People are out there. So by 28 February 2026, she should have finalized recruitment, more specifically for the Forensic Science Laboratory. I can pardon her on other areas like your serious and violent crime, your general detective. But for the forensic, I said by 28 February 2026, we shall not have any shortage of personnel. We are busy in the process of acquiring the tools of trade and making sure that we have those tools. We are in the process, but we want that we shouldn't have this repeated problem within the forensic services where it's either people or tools. So we will make sure that they have got those tools. We will, of course, because there are processes to acquire tools of trade. It will take us quite a longer time maybe for this year, so that we so that we finalize the procurement of machinery and all other assets. But in terms of personnel, they will be there, and after the 28th of February 2026, they will go, of course, for training within the forensics, and from there, they'll deploy across all the labs, of course, including the KZN, will also be open and running. Thank you very much.
Right, there's the questions raised by Anastasia, that there's been, well, I take over at a time when there's been several years passing, and specific mention was made to the implementation of the State Capture Commission, that those cases were not being attended to. I can assure you that that is one of my focus areas. We are going to continue to prioritize attending to the State Capture Commission cases, but as you may be aware, that there has been cases that have been enrolled emanating from the State Capture Commission. Thus far, an example being cases relating to irregularities and corruption committed at Transnet. That is just one example, and there's been several former executives and former executive authority that have been charged, and they are currently in court. We are awake that the public would like to see results, and we will ensure that those cases also receive effective prosecution, and of course the aim is to return a conviction and of course the appropriate sentences. The other example, of course, is the New Lane case, right? You would know the genesis of this case since it started. There has been a ruling now by the Constitutional Court in favor of the National Prosecuting Authority. So we will be enrolling this matter as well to ensure that it takes its course and that justice is ultimately served. We are pleased that there has been such ruling that vindicated NPA, in particular IDEC. So as you know, that when IDEC was formed, it had to really focus on state capture commission cases. There are other cases that will be enrolled. Coincidentally, I had a discussion today with the IDEC team, and I've been assured, I've seen the work that they're doing, and there are matters that they are really working hard to ensure that those matters get enrolled. Of course, we will announce, or you will see when those matters are announced and enrolled in court. Of course, another priority is what we are reporting to you today, the implementation of Madlanga Commission recommendation. So in terms of the priorities, I don't want to repeat what I said earlier, but there will still be an opportunity for NPA to host a focused media briefing where we outline NPA priorities. But just as I indicated, amongst others, is really just to support the criminal justice system among some of the priority crimes such as organized crime, the extortions that have beset our country, GBV cases, and of course corruption, matters related to corruption cases. Amongst others, we'll be focusing on the resourcing plan and the skills that are required to ensure that NPA continues to do its work. This is but amongst others. As I indicated, that we will come through at an appropriate time to give a comprehensive view. There's a question from Netwerk around whether existing capacity will be used and whether existing cases will suffer. Yes, the state prosecutors and the state advocates that we are allocating are those ones that are employed by NPA at the moment. And of course, we will ensure that as we reallocate them, that we do so with a view that the current cases that they are busy with do not suffer. Because we take a view that each and every case is key, each and every case is important. Those cases that they are working on should continue to receive attention. There is a question around safety measures, around witnesses. As you may be aware, that NPA oversees the witness protection program. We will also contribute into the measures that really government is working on. And at this stage, I would like to hand over to General Musikidi, who leads the net joins. There's some work that's been done there, so she is better positioned to give a view on that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, members of the media. I think this question came from Network, Advocate Mothibi, as you have alluded, and as it is contained as well on the briefing of the National Commissioner, that NAJOINS is also overseeing the safety and security of the Commission as early as December. I think it was immediately after the occurrence of the unfortunate occurrence that affected Witness D. We activated the priority committee that is looking at the safety of the witnesses over and above the responsibility of the NPA. As we all will recall, that NAJOINS is a structure that coordinates all government departments and partners on the matter that needs to be undertaken by the structure. So we did activated nut joints, and that was also communicated by the Commission spokesperson, as they are part and parcel of that structure or the network that is looking at the safety of the witnesses. This is over and above the work that nut joints have already implemented when the commission was established and started. So above the safety measures on the commission itself, the venue security, as well as other security disciplines that we have undertaken, which is the role that we do as the joint structure with all other commissions that we had previously. This too is receiving the same security measures that has been implemented since the commencement of the commission. But we also had a follow-up meeting with the commission as well this morning. I did have a courtesy visit to the center just to make sure that since the resumption of the commission, we are still on board with our safety and security measures. And we did engage at length on what else needed to be done on the safety of the witnesses, which the meeting resulted in us having to convene and to look at what needs to be done. I must indicate that we are not waiting for an incident to occur as nut joints to respond, but as and when the need arises, we do convene, we do call one another. It's always a physical meeting because it talks to the security issues, and we put measures in place to ensure that witnesses are safe. So I think the question went further to say, is it still safe for witnesses to come forward and present their testimony before the commission? The answer is yes, that it's what we are encouraging, and that is what I think the country wants to hear. And people that have or who want to come and testify before the commission, when allowed, they will have to do that, and we can assure that we will put all the safety measures to the best of the ability of the joint structure. Thank you.
Janam Sigidi, thank you very much for that input, talking in her capacity as a co-chair of the Net Joints, which is a high-level coordination structure of government, and those responses, General, I think were necessary for clarity in most of the matters that needed that clarity in that particular space. But thank you, General Masemola, and Advocate Mothibi as well, for taking us through the responses of the second round of questions, and with General Sentumule as well, that also took the podium to respond on some of the specific questions that were directed to her portfolio. I did also indicate that on the far end, it was the acting national head of DPCI, Lieutenant General Nkosi. They were not necessarily specific questions that were directed to your portfolio, General. We are is there a hand? I thought we were moving towards a closure, but I see there is one hand further up. We can, General, can we take the hand, because for the online platforms we also indicated we are going to take those and probably forward some of the responses, because we can actually do that for our online questions, unless that one is pressing. General, can we afford an opportunity for the question? Okay, the question can come through. Is the follow-up now, Khaucher? Are you okay?
The last online question is from Letukonolole Hana at 4B. To the National Commissioner, why is Tongin Tombeli not suspended as he was implicated in the Madlanga Commission? And to the NDPP boss, are you willing to share your thoughts on the application challenging your appointment? That's all. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Mine is just a question coming from a colleague who's elsewhere dealing with other stories, crime related. Is there any success recorded in the fight against illegal mining particularly in Bapong, where we've seen a deployment of a large team of officers, as well as here in Randfontein and other areas in Gauteng where communities have been affected in terms of their own safety. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. General, I think those are the two questions that we'll take at this stage, and then we will agree that we will wrap up our media briefing on that immediately after the responses, and the rest of the questions we'll take offline. Thank you, General.
Thanks for the question. I think earlier when I was presenting, I did indicate that whatever information we receive, we evaluate, and if there is a basis, then an investigation, of course, do take place. So there is a lot of assessment of information that we do receive. So based on what we have for now, there is nothing that one can be able to move on. But we are assessing information that we get from both the commissions in terms of what needs to be done. Thank you. And then on the Bapong and the Randfontein, we deployed forces there at Bapong, as you are aware, last year. There's been a number of people arrested for being illegal in the country and being in possession of gold-bearing material in both cases. We continue, of course, arrested those. But you'll recall that we have tasked the DPCI to investigate the serious cases, especially people that are buying the products of the Zamazamas, because that's the only way. If we hit that market, then obviously there will be a dent on the ground. For now, that investigation is still on. We haven't arrested anybody at the top of the market of the illegal mining, but we are continuing, and we are going to deploy further the rest of the province of Gauteng. We are going to deploy because there is a lot of communities that are being affected by these people that are mining illegally in those areas. So we will continue with the deployment, especially in Gauteng and Northwest. But of course, not that the rest of the country will negate it, but we also pay attention there too. Thank you.
Right. The question is, am I willing to share the thoughts about the litigation or the reported litigation challenging my appointment? All I really can say at this stage is that I have followed the media reports in this regard, and should we be served with the legal papers or court papers, we will respond accordingly. So at this stage, that's really all I can say. Thank you. I'm focusing on the work at hand at the moment.
Thank you very much, Advocate Mothibi from the NPA, and also to the National Commissioner of the South African Police Service, General Masemola, the Deputy National Commissioners and other divisional commissioners that are also part and parcel of this particular briefing. Ladies and gentlemen, this takes us to the end of this media briefing, and thank you very much for your continued support as we continue with the business of making sure that the people of South Africa are and feel safe. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Mamba.
Yeah.